Wow. I did post this on Twitter. I'll say it again here. I'd really love to see these guys meet each other in the playoffs. And if you're a Bruins fan saying no, because we don't want to see everybody get injured, I agree. And yet, that could be one heck of an intense playoff round. Now, here's the interesting thing Boston has games in hand on the teams in front of them. They now sit 6 points behind Washington, so they could really mess up everybody's plans for who they'd like to see face who in the playoffs. They are still within striking distance of the Islanders, of the Penguins, of the Capitals, and at the same time, if you're a Rangers fan, right now you're kind of grumbling and mumbling about how Caps had one job today and they just couldn't get her done. First minute, the Bruins get a power play. Chara, also notable, not in the Caps lineup today, as I mentioned in the news of the day. He took a lot of shots off of his ankle, and odds are that hurts. Shorthanded chance for Eller. Rask made the save there. That was kind of the best shot during that power play. The Caps would kill it off. The Bruins did press after that. There was a fast break for Anthony Mantha, which McAvoy defended. And yeah, pretty decent start for the Caps. Good defense there by McAvoy. They really missed him when he was out. Clifton then with a high stick that wasn't called. Eller complained, so they reviewed it, and then they called it. So the officials get together and they go, yeah, never mind. Yeah, no, that's a 4-minute. And wouldn't be the last time that happened today. So the officiating, they eventually got calls right for the most part, but yeah, it's just one of those games where you're left kind of scratching your head after when it comes to the officiating. So they did review it. They called the 4 minutes, and it legit should have been. Connor Clifton, based on today's game, I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to not have him in the lineup for the next one. Ovi had a shot that was blocked by Lauzon. Rask saved the next shot from Ovechkin, and then it's a shorthanded marker. It's Patrice Bergeron from Marchand at 12:02, and it was a great play to set it up by Marchand, whose stick flies through the air, and yeah, it goes to Bergeron, and it goes to the back of the net. Bruins then killed off the remainder of that 4-minute power play, and I'm sure Clifton was watching from the box and going, these guys are pretty good when they take a 4-minute minor. Maybe I should take another one. And yeah, so it was impressive. That's the 7th shorthanded goal scored against the Capitals this year. They now lead the league in that dubious category. Krejci then scored from Clifton and Smith at 13:56. If David Krejci starts deciding to put the puck on the net the way he did today, he can be a scorer. 20-goal scorer is basically his max. You look throughout his career, he can be a 20-goal scorer, but this year he had 3 coming into today, so more than 3 would be good, and he gets there with his 4th. Caps then press with 2 minutes left. Things get kind of scrummy, and then with 10 seconds left, Backstrom finds Oshie, and at 19:50, the Capitals make it 2-1. And I was questioning right there, like, is this a momentum swing? Hathaway then decided to throw a hit after the horn. That drew a crowd. There was a lot of that in today's game. It's interesting. So we open up the second period with 2 minutes of 4-on-4 because of the fallout from the Hathaway thing, right? Loud cursing and officials could be heard. I think it was both teams cursing for calls. I was very, very, very loud cursing both ways. The Caps then press at 2.5 minutes. Game's really emotional. This was a very emotional game. Both teams really understanding how important this was. And then Clifton decides to take another penalty, and it's a 4-minute penalty for Clifton. Because of course it is. So he's back in the box for 4 minutes. Probably sitting down and going, all right, this is where Bergeron scores, right? Oh, contraire. Power play goal, it's Oshie from Kuznetsov and Backstrom at 3:48. That's during the first 2 minutes of that power play, so it continues. And they score again. Mantha from Orlov and Eller at 4:54. So that's a 4-game goal streak for Anthony Mantha to start his career as a Capital. That is a new record. Mantha loves playing for the Caps, and that gave them their first lead of the game. And again, for Clifton, bad. 8 minutes in penalties and 2 power play goals against. Yes, there's a shorthanded goal, but you're still -1 on that transaction. DeBrusk then tried to answer. The Bruins really needed to turn this back because it felt like the Caps could just roll. Momentum's huge for the Capitals and Ovechkin. And it's Marchand that breaks that up from Bergeron and McAvoy at 6:33. So yeah, the Bruins did answer. Vanacek then saved a Tinordi shot as the Bruins were seeking the lead, and it felt like the Caps' defense and goaltending both kind of shaky today. Rask then denies Sprong. Now, Tuukka Rask historically has been bad against Washington. Today, none of that. That storyline, not a problem today. In and amongst everything else going on, I was keeping an eye on Rask. I was like, you know what? He's playing well against Washington. That's good. Sprong, I felt would love to have that chance again. So he basically had like a half open net, and then he shoots it kind of to where Rask is. So Rask, good save and a little bit fortunate as well. And they announced as well that Schultz would not return due to a lower body injury he suffered early in the game. So Justin Schultz was out. The Caps were down to 5 defensemen, so that will lead to problems, especially when it's early in the game. You're going to be overplaying someone somewhere, and Boston could very well be argued took advantage of that. So the Bruins get a power play, and they don't score on it. But right after the power play ends, Krejci gets his second of the game from Smith and Hall at 16:02. It was the perfect shot, and he waited. Orlov's sliding across to block it, so he waits till Orlov's out of the way, and then he put it in the perfect spot to beat Vanacek. So again, if that's the David Krejci we're going to see from here, that changes Boston's perspective completely. Smith and Hall with the assists on that, and January 13th of 2020 was the last time that David Orlov had more than one goal in a game. It's been a while. Backstrom then had a shot that was saved. Mantha fired the rebound wide, and then it's Boston again. Bergeron from Pastrnak and Marchand at 5. And the funny thing is, this makes it 5-3. And looking at my goal board, I'm like, wait, there's already that many off the board. I'm just writing everything down. I'm like, oh, it's 5-3 already. It's 17:45. That is the 21,000th goal in the history of the Boston Bruins. So kudos to Bergeron for getting that, and it's suitable that Bergeron gets it. And yeah, 21,000 goals in Boston's history. Last minute save then by Vanacek on Smith, and with 12.2 seconds left, the Caps go back on the power play. So we go to the third. Good movement on that power play. Ovi and Eller were then denied after that ended. So really good chances for both Ovechkin and Eller. And again, Rask had a very good game against Washington. Wilson then rattled Corrali. I'm not going to get into whether or not there should have been a penalty there. I did think it looked kind of a little bit off, but again, not really much he could do there. And again, I think because it's Tom Wilson, it's going to get a lot more play than it would have been if it was somebody else. And yeah, the Bruins end up getting a penalty because, you know, with Wilson, I think it was Tinordi that went after Wilson, so Tinordi gets a roughing minor. But then the Bruins killed it off, and there was a post for Curtis Lazar shortly after that. Hathaway then injured Tinordi, and he's bleeding. But there was no call. The referee's looking at the play. There was no call. So I was like, okay, so no call on that. And it was a boarding hit. So they reviewed it. And on the review, they decided 5 in a game. Now, when they reviewed it, I thought, well, they'll probably give him 2. They might give him a double minor. No, they gave him 5 in a game. So Hathaway was gone. Tinordi was out as well. He was in pretty rough shape. And yeah, during this 5 minutes, which again, I thought it was weird because the referee was watching the play and didn't call a penalty. And then they get together, they watch the replay, and they go, 5 minutes. Got to straighten that out. So it was a reverse Vegas San Jose situation, right? San Jose, SH, I see SH instead of shorthanded, even though Jose starts with J. Shorthanded break then for Wilson. Rask made the save there. The Caps did kill off that 5-minute power play. So really fired up teams. These guys really don't like one another. Goalie gets pulled with 2:20 left. Bergeron with a near miss on the empty net, which I thought was noteworthy because when you miss the empty net, right? But Marchand would hit the empty net from Pastrnak at 18:16. That's point number 700 for Marchand, who had 4 today. And he did go over to Bergeron after and say, look, I know you needed a hat trick, but got to get that goal. So I'm sure Bergeron was fine with it. He's not really the type to get all upset if he doesn't end up with a hat trick. So neither Krejci nor Bergeron get a hat trick. But yeah, pretty good day for Marchand with 2 goals and 2 assists. And Boston wins this one 6-3. They go to 25-12-6. For the Caps, they drop to 29-13-4. Shots in this one, 14-10 Washington in the first, 11-10 Washington in the second. Both teams had 8 shots in the third. Final shots, 33-28 for the Caps. Power plays, 2 for 6 for the Capitals, 0 for 3 for Boston. Vanacek, 22 saves on 27 shots. Rask saves 30 out of 33. Not too shabby for Tuukka Rask today and for the Bruins. And they don't play again until the end of the season. The last game that these teams will play before the playoffs will be against one another, and we'll see if that decides the seeding in the East. It could very well, because the East is pretty close from 1 through 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.